Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video we're doing a love hearts inspired set of nails, so I hope you all enjoy watching. To begin with, I'm working on my Glamerliz practice hands and I've applied some tips to act as the nail beds, and then I'm going to come in with my e-file and a sanding band, and I'm just going to use this on a really low speed to simply remove the shine from these nail tips. Now in this video I'm going to be applying full cover press on nail tips using builder gel. So I just thought I would show you guys how I do it, because I don't usually include these steps very often, if I'm honest. When I do videos I mainly just jump to doing the design work, but when I'm doing gel polish on the Glamerliz, it's not something I do too often, to be honest, but I like to apply the tips using the Gel X Apres dupe method, if you want to call it that. So I'm just simply going to apply some full cover press on nail tips using builder gel in a bottle. Now to do this you do need to remove the shine of the nails just to help make our base coat adhere to them, otherwise you can find it separates. And then I'm just scrubbing away all of that dust, because we don't want any of that to end up in our base coat. Now before moving on to applying the base coat, because I had my e-file out, I thought I would prep my nail tips. So I'm taking one of those press on nail tips and I'm simply going to etch the inside of this just really gently. You don't want to file into it too much, but I just want to make sure that again I'm removing the shine so that the gel has something to stick to. And then I like to just take this same bit down at the cuticle area a little bit more as well, and just file that a little bit more, because then I find it slightly thinner. So if I'm doing it on myself, it helps blend it into that cuticle area a little bit more. But again, I'm being super careful because I don't want to file into it too much. So I'm going to do this on all 4 of the nails. I think I just show you guys it on 2 because I don't like the videos being too repetitive. I did also make sure that I scrubbed inside all of the nails with a nail brush just to remove any of the dust. And then I'm going to come in with my base coat and just apply a thin layer of this to all 4 of the nails. Once I've applied this, I'll pop this in to cure for 60 seconds. Now, if you are doing this set on a practice hand like I am here, you can skip this step if you wanted to save your base coat, because it isn't actually very necessary. But I do find that the tips adhere on a lot better when you do have that layer of base coat down. So that's why I still like to apply it anyway. And let me know if you would like to see more videos like this, where maybe I'm doing the more starter parts of the sets of nails, so applying tips, applying my clear acrylic base or whatever system I'm working with. A lot of my videos, like I said, I jump to the design work because that's mainly what my channel was about when I started it. But I do quite enjoy filming and showing you guys these steps as well. So let me know if it's something you enjoy and I'll make sure to include it in more videos. I've left doing the first nail in real time so you can see exactly how I work and we can talk through the steps. So I'm taking my builder gel in a bottle and I'm placing that down into that contact area. So when it comes to prepping the nail tip with the e-file, I was only e-filing roughly where the nail is going to meet the nail bed, and that's the exact same area I'm applying my builder gel. It can be a little bit tricky to work out exactly how much you need, so it can be, I just say it's trial and error, play around. I still get it wrong sometimes. You'll see on one of the nails I apply more gel than is needed. Now here I'm using a sheer pink builder gel just so it shows up a little bit better on camera. Normally I would use a clear because then it all looks a little bit neater, but I just thought it would be a little bit harder for you to see what's happening with the gel when I'm using a clear. So that's why I've opted for the sheer pink one. And you can see I'm just pressing that down quite firmly onto the nail plate. I tilted it out slightly at the cuticle area and then press down firmly, and then I'm simply flash curing it for 10 seconds. I've got the Kiki London deluxe lamp which separates from the bottom, so I find this easier now rather than using one of the little flashy lamps, because I can just hold it over the hand for the 10-second cure. So I'm doing exactly the same again on the middle finger. I did do the ring finger, but unfortunately I forgot to hit play on my camera, so that's why it skipped out the ring finger. But I've done exactly the same on all of the nails. So lastly, I'm going to come in and do the pointer finger. So again, I'm taking my gel and I'm just going to apply it down at that contact area. I like to put a little bit more at the cuticle area, just a slight amount, so that when you rock it on and press it down firmly, that gel flows up the nail plate, as you can see there. And then I'm holding it quite tightly with my thumb, applying quite a bit of pressure, and then I'm flash curing it for 10 seconds. and then I pop them in for a full 60-second cure, because the 10-second flash cure just holds them in place, doesn't fully cure the gel. So I then like to pop them in for that full 60-second cure, and you know that they're fully set on and they're not budging. And then because I'm going to be applying gel polish over the top of these nails, I'm just going to buff off the shine so that we don't get any separation. And then I'm going to give them a really good clean. Now this is quite tricky to do on the Glamerliz hand or any silicone hand, because the dust loves to stick to the hands, and I always find when I do a gel polish set I will end up with a bit of dust in it because it's really hard to scrub them clean. But I'm doing the best I can with a nail brush, and then I'm coming over with a lint-free pad and some alcohol just to give them a really good clean and remove as much dust as I can. I find this a lot easier to do on my own nails. Anything gel based I find a lot easier to do on my own nails rather than the silicone hands, just because of the dust. Then we're going to move on to our design. So first up, I'm going to be coming in with Baby Pink, which is a gorgeous pale pink shade from Kiki London, and I'm going to be applying this on the pointer and the little finger. So I'm coming in with a super thin coat to begin with, and I'm just getting a nice neat cuticle line and then pulling that colour down towards the free edge. As you can see, I'm trying to let my brush fan out and do all of the work for me. Again, I'm trying to be as neat as I can, but it's not always possible. And with gel polish, if you do get any on the skin, just make sure to remove it before curing, but obviously always avoid trying to get it on the skin, but it does happen at times. So like I said, I'm doing the exact same on the little finger. Now, if you struggle to get a neat cuticle line with your gel polish brush, you can also come in with a fine liner brush to go around that cuticle area. I don't really bother doing that when I'm working on the Glamerliz, but if I'm working on myself and I really want to get a neat cuticle line, that's what I'll do. And then I popped these two nails into cure just so I didn't smudge them when I'm working on the next two. And then next up, we're going to come in with Kiki London's Buttercup. This is a gorgeous pastel yellow. It's giving me such spring vibes, but I wanted to do a love heart inspired set using the decals that I was sent from Miss Lucy's that I showed you in one of the previous videos. And I just felt as though I needed to tie them in with some of the love heart style colours. You know, the sweet love hearts. That's what I'm on about when I'm talking about love hearts. So I opted for more pastel colours, but before adding those love hearts, these nails just give me such spring/Easter vibes. So I'm just again applying a really thin coat of this colour. I did just have a little bit of fluff stuck in the gel there, which I removed. And when I'm applying my first coat of colour, I really like to keep it as thin as possible. I don't worry if it looks patchy or sheer. I like to have that first coat of colour nice and thin, and then I'll build up the coverage with my second coat. So the third colour we're going to be using is just Lavish, and it's a gorgeous pastel lilac. I absolutely love this. This is definitely going to be one of my favourite Kiki London colours. This was my first time using it, but you've probably heard me say it on my channel before. I am such a sucker for a purple and a lilac colour, and this one is absolutely gorgeous. It applied so beautifully as well. It's really pigmented, but it has that gorgeous creamy consistency to it. Just one coat looked beautiful. I then popped those colours into cure, and we're going to come in and apply our second coat. So when I'm applying my second coat, this is where I like to come in as well and get a nice neat cuticle line. If I didn't get it perfect on the first coat, you can usually still perfect that on your second coat of colour. And with these particular Kiki London shades, they're really creamy texture, so they're quite pigmented. So again, I like to just apply them in thin coats because I don't feel as though you need to add too much thickness or bulk with them. So I like to just keep it nice and thin and float the colour down the nail. If you do see me coming over the nail a couple of times, it's usually because, like I said, with the Glamerliz hand, I always seem to find that there's some dust stuck somewhere and it ends up on the surface of the nail or in the gel. So I just come over a few times to get it out. And I also find this helps even out the colour as well. I'm being really careful when I'm going around the cuticle and sidewall area, just letting my brush fan out to create a nice neat cuticle line. And then once I've finished applying this colour, I'll pop these into cure for 30 seconds as well. And off camera, I did remove the tacky layer from these because I knew that I was going to be doing some painting on the top and some water decals. So I just found it easier to give them a wipe over with some alcohol. This next colour is absolutely beautiful. It really made me feel like I can't wait for the spring summer nails and to get these bright colours back out, because this is just stunning. So this is Fiji Waters from Kiki London. And then I'm going to be taking the Kiki London Stripe Liner Brush. These brushes are brand new. They launched on Friday on the Kiki London website. I will leave a link in the description box below to the video I did launching them over on the Kiki London channel. So do check that out because they are amazing, and that video shows them in a little bit more detail. Now I was just showing on the pointer finger, I have already done that nail, and we're going to be doing a deep French nail. So I haven't ever really done this with gel polish before. When it comes to French nails, I usually do them with acrylic, and there's something that I haven't even mastered with acrylic, but I really wanted to give it a go with gel polish. So I decided I would do it on the pointer finger off camera just to have a play around and see how it went before coming in and filming doing it on the little finger. But all I'm basically doing is mapping out the smile line to begin with, and I'm doing this by just doing two thin lines down the side walls, and then I'm going straight across the nail tip and colouring it in, because I'm just trying to work out how thick I want it to be, and I found it a little bit easier doing it that way. And then I decided that I wanted the smile line, the side walls of the smile line, to be a little bit thicker. So that's what I'm slowly doing. I'm just doing it one line at a time. You probably could do this in a lot easier ways, but like I said, it was my first time doing a smile line with gel polish this deep. I've not even done a classic gel polish smile line in a really long time. So this was a little tricky. But for a long time, I've been really wanting to push myself out of my comfort zone when it comes to working with gel polish. So now I have these new brushes, I have absolutely no excuse not to. So that's why I decided I would give this a go with gel polish. But video wise, it did take me quite a while. So I'm sorry if it's a little bit boring to watch. But I'm literally coming back in and just making that line thicker each time I go until I'm happy with it. I then popped that into Cure, and I'm going to come in and do a second coat of colour just so that the blue really pops against the pink. And another thing I found quite tricky about doing a French like this was I found it really hard to get the smile lines to match up. So that's why it took me a little bit of time as well. Probably would have been easier if I'd recorded the pointer finger, because I probably took less time doing that one than I did the little finger, because this one I kept having to go backwards and forwards to make sure they looked as similar as possible. But it is easier applying the second coat of colour because you've already got your base layer down. Now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to pop that in to Cure as well. I'm just neatening it up here before curing. And now we're going to move on to applying our water decals. So these water decals are from Miss Lucy. I will leave a link in the description box below. And these are absolutely amazing. I just took them out of the packet so you could see them a little bit better. So they've got all different sayings on them, very similar to the Love Heart Sweets. But I loved the gold effect to these. I was a little apprehensive of how much the gold was going to pop against the gel polish, and on her leaflet that she sent with them, it did say that these could be used on any base, and I was kind of thinking, are they going to really pop against a coloured base? But I was pleasantly surprised. They show up absolutely beautiful even on these bright bases like this. I know some water decals, if you don't use them over a white base, they just don't pop, if that makes sense. So I'm just simply soaking these in water for around 30 seconds, and then I'm taking them out. They peel off really easy from the backing paper, and then I'm just placing them down on the nail. I wanted them to be placed down quite randomly and face in different directions, just because I thought that that looked quite pretty against the nail, and it just looked a little bit different rather than them all facing one direction. So I'm simply using my silicone tool to move them around into place and to also get out any creases or bubbles. I like to apply a little bit of pressure if you have got a bubble, and you can usually just push it out. These decals are quite small. You usually struggle more with bubbles in the larger decals, so these were quite easy to apply. But I'm just taking my time to get them in place. One of the things I love about water decals is you have usually got a fair bit of playtime with them before they start drying, and you can't move them as easy. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on this one. So I chose 3 different ones, or all 6, sorry, are different, just because I wanted you to have a bit of a variety. Here you can see there's just a little bit of a bubble where that decal is going over the curve apex part of the nail. So I'm just taking my time to push that out and get that as flat as possible. You really want to take your time and get those bubbles and creases out because they show up a lot more once you top coat. So I do like to just play around with them a little bit until I'm happy with them. Now I do also like to leave my decals for a few minutes to dry just to make sure that all of that water has evaporated, because otherwise it's going to affect your top coat. So I do just leave them for around 5 minutes. I usually tidy away my colours or whatever else I've used whilst I'm waiting, and then I'll come in and top coat. If there's a lot of excess water, you can also take a lint-free pad and just wipe over, or sorry, not wipe, dab over them just to soak up any of the excess water, but I didn't find as though I had any of that today. So this was the nails once they had finished, and I just let them dry for a few minutes, and I'm then going to come in and top coat. So I'm top coating today with my Kiki London no wipe top coat. Now usually when I use water decals I will double top coat, but I only show you guys top coating once just for the purpose of the video. You can also use a rubber top coat as well. I find that if I use a rubber top coat I only need to do one coat over decals, stamping, foils, any nail art. But today I opted to use my no wipe top coat because I absolutely love the shine of this one. And when it comes to applying the top coat over the water decals, I like to just float it over. So I don't do too much pulling and dragging. I just float it around, and then I find it just really helps encapsulate them in and get around the edges of the water decal. Keeping everything still quite even and thin. You don't want to add a too thick bulky layer of top coat. Like I said, I'm doing a second coat, so especially it's better to keep the layers thin. 2 thin coats is much better than 1 thick coat. And then once I've finished applying this, I'll pop these in to cure for 60 seconds, and that is the end of the set. I thought they were super pretty, but I really had fun doing these, so I hope you all enjoyed watching. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Have any of you started on any Valentine's sets yet? I know I have a lot of nail tech friends who are working on practice hands or doing loads of nails on themselves just to cure the boredom. So let me know if you've started any Valentine's sets in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up or leave me a comment below. And if you're not already subscribed, I would absolutely love it if you hit that subscribe button. And I shall hopefully see you all very soon in my next video. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.